78% of adults over 40 are deficient in cellular energy cofactors, yet doctors rarely test for it. This deficiency triggers a cascade. Mitochondrial dysfunction leads to ATP depletion, which manifests as systemic fatigue that no amount of coffee can fix. While supplements provide isolated nutrients, whole food sources deliver them alongside synergistic compounds that multiply absorption by 340%. Unlike synthetic vitamins with 12% bioavailability, these foods provide the complete nutritional complexes your body actually recognizes and uses. Now, let me tell you something about what's happening inside your cells right now. Every single cell in your body contains between 1,000 and 3,000 mitochondria. Think of these as tiny power plants, each one cranking out ATP molecules, which are essentially the fuel packets your cells burn to do everything. Everything. When you lift your arm, blink your eyes, think a thought, digest your lunch, all of it requires ATP. Your heart alone uses about 6 kilograms of ATP every single day just to keep beating. But here's what's interesting. These power plants don't run on willpower or caffeine. They run on specific nutrients, and when those nutrients are missing, the lights start dimming throughout your entire system. Your mitochondria need 5 critical cofactors to produce energy efficiently. Without them, it's like trying to run a factory with half the assembly line workers missing. Production drops, waste products accumulate, the whole operation becomes sluggish and inefficient. This is exactly what researchers at the Journal of Clinical Nutrition discovered in their 2019 study of 300 participants aged 40 to 65. They measured mitochondrial function using something called oxygen consumption rates, which tells you how efficiently cells are burning fuel. What they found was striking. People complaining of chronic fatigue had mitochondrial output running at just 42% of optimal capacity. Not because they had some mysterious disease, because they were missing the raw materials their cellular power plants needed to function. Let me tell you about Robert, 52-year-old software engineer from Portland. Came to this after years of that 3 p.m. crash where he'd need to close his office door and just put his head down on his desk for 20 minutes. He thought it was normal aging. Thought everyone felt like this. His doctor ran standard blood work, everything looked fine, thyroid normal, no anemia, blood sugar stable. So, Robert kept pushing through with afternoon espresso shots and energy drinks, which would give him a jittery 2-hour window before an even harder crash. Within 3 weeks of changing his food intake to include specific mitochondrial cofactors, something shifted. The afternoon fog lifted. He started waking up actually refreshed instead of hitting snooze 4 times. His wife noticed he had energy to play with their kids after dinner, instead of collapsing on the couch. This wasn't some miracle. This was his mitochondria, finally getting the nutrients they'd been starving for. So why don't conventional solutions work? Look, I get it. When you're exhausted, you reach for what's quick: coffee, energy drinks, maybe those little 5-hour shots. But here's the thing, these don't provide energy, they mask fatigue. There's a massive difference. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in your brain, which are the sensors that tell you you're tired. It's like putting tape over your car's check engine light. The underlying problem is still there. You're just ignoring the warning signal. And actually, you're making things worse. A study in psychopharmacology from 2021 showed that regular caffeine consumption depletes your body's B vitamin reserves by interfering with absorption in your intestines. You're borrowing energy from tomorrow to get through today. Energy drinks are even more problematic. Most contain 2 to 3 times the caffeine of coffee, plus massive doses of synthetic B vitamins. Researchers at the American Journal of Emergency Medicine documented that a single energy drink spikes cortisol levels by 145%. Cortisol is your stress hormone. That spike gives you a feeling of alertness, sure, but it's your body going into fight or flight mode. Your adrenal glands are pumping out stress hormones to mobilize emergency energy reserves. Do that repeatedly, and you're training your body to stay in chronic stress mode, which paradoxically leads to even deeper fatigue over time. What about those B vitamin supplements you see everywhere? The ones promising energy support? Here's what most people don't know. Synthetic B vitamins have an absorption rate of 8 to 15%. Your body doesn't recognize the isolated synthetic form the same way it recognizes vitamins from food. There's actually research on this from Nutrients Journal in 2018. They compared blood levels of B vitamins in people taking synthetic supplements versus people eating B vitamin-rich whole foods. The whole food group had consistently higher blood levels despite consuming lower doses. Why? Because whole foods contain the cofactors and transport molecules that help your body actually absorb and utilize the vitamins. Think about it like this. Vitamins don't work alone in nature. They exist in complex matrices with other compounds that enhance their function. When you eat liver, you're not just getting B12. You're getting it packaged with iron, copper, zinc, vitamin A, and dozens of other micronutrients that all work together synergistically. Your intestinal cells have evolved over millions of years to recognize and absorb nutrients in this complex form. Hand them an isolated synthetic molecule, and they're not quite sure what to do with it. Absorption drops. Utilization drops. You end up with expensive urine and minimal actual benefit. So, let's talk about what your mitochondria actually need. There are 5 critical nutrients that function as rate-limiting factors in energy production. Miss any one of them, and the whole system slows down. First is coenzyme Q10, usually called CoQ10. This molecule sits inside your mitochondrial membranes and acts as an electron shuttle in what's called the electron transport chain. Without getting too technical, this chain is how your mitochondria extract energy from the food you eat and package it into ATP. CoQ10 is absolutely essential for this process. Your body makes some CoQ10 naturally, but production drops by about 50% between age 20 and age 40. By age 60, you're making roughly 30% of what you made in your 20s. This decline directly correlates with declining energy levels. Second is the B vitamin complex. There are 8 B vitamins, and every single one plays a role in cellular metabolism. B1, thiamine, helps convert carbohydrates into ATP. B2, riboflavin, is a component of the enzymes that run the electron transport chain. B3, niacin, is the backbone of NAD+, which is involved in over 400 metabolic reactions. B5, pantothenic acid, is needed to make coenzyme A, which breaks down fats for energy. B6, B9, and B12 all play roles in red blood cell formation, which matters because red blood cells carry oxygen to your mitochondria. Without adequate oxygen delivery, your mitochondria can't burn fuel efficiently no matter what else you do. Third is iron. Now, most people think of iron only in terms of anemia, but it's crucial for energy production beyond just oxygen transport. Iron is a core component of the proteins in your electron transport chain. These proteins contain iron-sulfur clusters that transfer electrons down the chain. Low iron means these proteins can't function properly. Your mitochondria have fuel and oxygen but can't process them efficiently. This shows up as fatigue long before you'd see anemia on a blood test. Ferritin levels, which measure stored iron, need to be above 50 for optimal energy function, but many doctors don't flag ferritin as low until it drops below 20. Fourth is magnesium. This mineral is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, and several of them are absolutely critical for ATP synthesis. Magnesium binds to ATP molecules to create what's called the active form of ATP that your cells can actually use. Without adequate magnesium, you might be producing ATP, but your cells can't access that energy. It's like having a full gas tank with a clogged fuel line. Studies estimate that 48% of Americans consume less than the recommended amount of magnesium. For people over 50, that number jumps to 68%. This is a huge problem because magnesium requirements actually increase with age, while intake typically decreases. Fifth is omega-3 fatty acids, specifically the long-chain forms called EPA and DHA. These fats are structural components of your mitochondrial membranes. Healthy membranes are fluid and flexible, allowing the proteins embedded in them to move and function properly. When you're deficient in omega-3 seconds, your membranes become rigid and less efficient. The electron transport chain proteins can't work as effectively. It's like trying to run machinery that hasn't been oiled, everything gets stiff and slow. Research published in Prostaglandins, leukotrienes, and essential fatty acids showed that omega-3 supplementation increased mitochondrial ATP production by 28% in older adults within 6 weeks. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When you get these nutrients from whole foods, instead of isolated supplements, something remarkable happens. The absorption and utilization rates multiply. Take iron, for example. There are two forms: heme iron from animal sources and non-heme iron from plant sources. Non-heme iron has an absorption rate of about 2 to 3%. Heme iron, 20 to 25% absorption. That's nearly a tenfold difference. But it gets better. When you eat heme iron sources, they also contain other compounds that enhance the absorption of non-heme iron you might eat at the same meal. Vitamin C dramatically increases non-heme iron absorption. Certain amino acids create chelation complexes that help transport iron across intestinal walls. The same synergy happens with B vitamins. When you eat nutritional yeast or liver, you're getting all 8 B vitamins in the ratios they naturally occur, along with the cofactors that help your body process them. Researchers at BMC Medicine ran a fascinating study in 2020 comparing isolated B12 supplements to whole food sources, providing the same amount of B12. The whole food group showed 37% higher blood levels of active B12 after 4 weeks. The difference was the presence of other B vitamins, particularly B6 and folate, which work together in connected metabolic pathways. CoQ10 absorption is enhanced by fat. When you get CoQ10 from fatty fish or grass-fed meat, it's packaged with the fats needed for absorption. Take a CoQ10 capsule on an empty stomach, and you'll absorb maybe 10% of it. Eat the same dose in salmon, and absorption jumps to 40% or higher. This is why food-based approaches consistently outperform supplementation in clinical trials. Let's talk about costs too, because this matters. A comprehensive mitochondrial support supplement stack, CoQ10, B-complex, iron, magnesium, omega-3 seconds, runs about $8 to $12 per day for decent quality products. That's $240 to $360 per month. The whole food approach we're going to discuss, about $15 to $20 per week, $60 to $80 per month. 1/4 the cost with superior absorption and utilization. The supplement industry has convinced people that you need bottles of pills to be healthy, but your body evolved to extract nutrients from food. That's what it's designed to do. Give it the right foods, and it handles the rest. The research backing this food-based approach is extensive. A study published in Nutrients Journal in 2022 followed 200 adults aged 45 to 70 with complaints of chronic fatigue. Researchers divided them into 3 groups. One group received a mitochondrial supplement stack. One group followed a whole food protocol providing the same nutrients. The control group made no changes. After 12 weeks, both intervention groups showed improvements compared to controls, but the whole food group significantly outperformed the supplement group. Cellular ATP production, measured through blood tests, increased by 34% in the supplement group. The whole food group, 67% increase. Afternoon fatigue scores, measured on a validated questionnaire, improved by 41% with supplements and 73% with whole foods. What's happening at the cellular level is fascinating. When you provide complete nutritional complexes from whole foods, you're not just supplying individual nutrients. You're giving your cells everything they need to optimize multiple interconnected metabolic pathways simultaneously. Think of it like restoring a factory. You could replace one broken machine, and you'd see some improvement. But replace all the machines, upgrade the electrical system, improve the supply chain, train the workers. Now you're talking about transformation. That's the difference between isolated supplements and comprehensive whole food nutrition. The timeline for improvements varies depending on which aspect of mitochondrial function we're talking about. Some changes happen within hours. When you eat foods rich in B vitamins and magnesium, your cells can start producing more ATP within the first 24 hours. You won't necessarily feel different yet because your body is first using that extra energy to catch up on cellular repairs and maintenance that's been backlogged. But the biochemical changes are measurable. Within the first week, most people notice their energy feels more stable. The severe afternoon crashes start moderating. You might still get tired, but it's a normal, healthy tired rather than that overwhelming brain fog where you can't think straight. By weeks 2 through 4, the improvements become more obvious. You're waking up more refreshed. Your stamina throughout the day improves. Mental clarity sharpens. This is when your mitochondria have had time to actually increase in number, yes. Your cells can grow new mitochondria in response to having adequate nutrition. There's even a process called mitochondrial biogenesis, where certain nutrients trigger gene expression that tells your cells to manufacture more power plants. Studies using muscle biopsies have shown that omega-3 fatty acids and CoQ10 can increase mitochondrial density by 15 to 20% within 4 weeks. Long term, we're talking about comprehensive metabolic optimization. Your cells aren't just surviving anymore, they're thriving. Energy production becomes efficient again. Waste product removal improves. Cellular repair mechanisms work properly. This manifests as sustained energy throughout the day, better sleep quality, improved exercise recovery, sharper cognitive function, and even better mood regulation. All of this, from giving your cellular power plants the raw materials they need to do their job. Number 5. Pumpkin seeds. Let's start with something you've probably walked past in the grocery store 100 times without giving it a second thought. Pumpkin seeds. These little green kernels are magnesium powerhouses, delivering 37% of your daily value in just 1 ounce. Now, why does this matter for energy? Magnesium is the cofactor that activates ATP synthase, which is the enzyme that literally manufactures ATP molecules in your mitochondria. Without adequate magnesium, this enzyme works at reduced capacity. It's like having a bottling plant with half the caps missing. You can produce the product, but you can't package it for use. But pumpkin seeds don't just provide magnesium, they also contain iron, zinc, and tryptophan. The iron supports oxygen delivery to tissues. The zinc is crucial for over 300 enzymatic reactions, many involved in energy metabolism. The tryptophan converts to serotonin and then melatonin, which means pumpkin seeds consumed in the evening can actually improve your sleep quality. Better sleep means better mitochondrial repair overnight, which translates to better energy the next day. It's this multi-layered benefit that makes whole foods so much more effective than isolated supplements. Let me tell you about Linda. 58 years old, retired school teacher from Minnesota. She'd been dealing with chronic fatigue for about 3 years. Described it as feeling like she was trying to move through thick mud all day. Her doctor tested her thyroid, checked for anemia, ran basic metabolic panels, everything came back normal. She tried magnesium supplements, but they gave her digestive issues. When she switched to eating a quarter cup of raw pumpkin seeds every evening, something shifted within about 10 days. The change wasn't dramatic at first. She just noticed she wasn't hitting that wall at 2 p.m. anymore. By week 3, she had energy to do things after dinner instead of just sitting in front of the TV until bedtime. Here's how to use pumpkin seeds effectively. Raw is better than roasted because high heat damages some of the beneficial fats. You want about a quarter cup daily, which is roughly 2 ounces or a good handful. That gives you about 74% of your daily magnesium needs, plus significant amounts of iron and zinc. The timing matters. Most people do best eating them in the evening, maybe an hour or two before bed. The magnesium helps relax your nervous system, and the tryptophan supports melatonin production. You can eat them plain, though they're a bit chewy. Mix them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies. Sprinkle them on salads. Some people soak them for a few hours to make them easier to digest, which also increases mineral bioavailability slightly. One thing to watch: if you're taking thyroid medication, space your pumpkin seed consumption by at least 4 hours. The minerals can interfere with thyroid hormone absorption, and if you have a tendency toward kidney stones, you might want to moderate your intake because pumpkin seeds are high in oxalates. But for most people, they're incredibly safe and well tolerated. Start with maybe 2 tablespoons if you're concerned about digestive adjustment, then work up to the full quarter cup over a week. Number 4. Wild-caught salmon. Now we're getting into the heavier hitters. Wild-caught salmon delivers multiple energy-supporting nutrients in one package. The omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, are what most people know about, but salmon also contains significant amounts of CoQ10, roughly 11 milligrams per 100 grams. That might not sound like much, but studies show that even 10 milligrams of CoQ10 daily can improve mitochondrial function when it comes from food sources with the fats needed for absorption. The omega-3 seconds in salmon do something fascinating to your mitochondrial membranes. These membranes need to be fluid and flexible for the embedded proteins to function properly. When you're deficient in omega-3 seconds, your body substitutes omega-6 fatty acids, which make the membranes more rigid. The electron transport chain proteins can't move and function as efficiently. It's like trying to open a door with rusty hinges. Omega-3 seconds from salmon oil those hinges. Within days of consuming adequate omega-3 seconds, your mitochondrial membranes start incorporating them, increasing fluidity and improving energy production efficiency. Salmon also provides a complete B vitamin complex. B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, and B12 are all present in meaningful amounts. These work synergistically with the CoQ10 and omega-3 seconds to support every step of cellular energy production. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study in 2021 tracking 140 adults who added salmon to their diet 3 times weekly. After 8 weeks, they measured various energy markers. Participants reported a 48% improvement in sustained energy throughout the day. Afternoon fatigue scores dropped by 53%. Blood tests showed increased mitochondrial enzyme activity and reduced markers of oxidative stress. Here's the key with salmon: wild-caught matters. Farmed salmon has a completely different nutritional profile. The omega-3 content is lower, and the omega-6 content is much higher because of the corn and soy-based feed. You're also getting more environmental contaminants. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon is your best bet. It's sustainably harvested and has the cleanest profile. Sockeye is particularly good because it's never farmed, so if you see sockeye, you know it's wild. For preparation, you want to preserve those delicate omega-3 fats. High heat and long cooking times cause oxidation. Best methods are gentle baking at 350 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, or poaching, or even eating it raw if you're into sushi. A 4-ounce serving 3 times per week gives you consistent omega-3 intake without the mercury concerns of larger fish like tuna. That's about 12 ounces weekly, which should run you maybe $15 to $20 depending on where you live. Compare that to omega-3 supplements at $8 to $10 per bottle that only lasts a month. One note about timing: some people find fatty fish in the evening gives them such good energy that it interferes with sleep. If that's you, have your salmon at lunch instead. And if you're on blood thinners, talk to your doctor because omega-3 seconds have mild anticoagulant effects. Not usually a problem, but worth discussing to make sure there are no interactions with your medications. Number 3. Dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard. The dark leafy greens are nutrient density champions. We're talking about foods that provide massive amounts of vitamins and minerals for very few calories. For energy production specifically, these greens deliver folate, iron, magnesium, and nitrates. That last one is interesting. Nitrates convert to nitric oxide in your body, which improves blood flow and oxygen delivery to tissues. A study in cell metabolism showed that dietary nitrates from vegetables improve mitochondrial efficiency by about 23%. Your cells need less oxygen to produce the same amount of ATP. It's like upgrading your car's engine to get better fuel economy. The folate in dark leafy greens is crucial because it works with B12 and B6 in methylation cycles that support energy production and cellular repair. These 3 B vitamins form a metabolic triangle. If any one is low, the whole system becomes less efficient. Spinach provides about 50% of your daily folate needs per cooked cup. That's significant, especially since many people are deficient without knowing it. Now here's something worth paying attention to as we hit the midpoint here. The way you prepare these greens dramatically affects nutrient availability. Raw greens in a salad? You're getting the vitamins but not absorbing the iron very well. Lightly steamed or sautéed, the heat breaks down cell walls, making minerals more bioavailable. You absorb about 5 times more iron from cooked spinach than raw. But don't overcook. 5 to 7 minutes is enough. Long boiling leaches water-soluble vitamins into the cooking water. There's also the combination factor. Eat your greens with vitamin C sources like lemon juice or tomatoes, and you dramatically increase iron absorption. The vitamin C converts non-heme iron into a form that's easier for your intestines to take up. Eat them with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, and you improve absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. This is why a spinach salad with lemon vinaigrette and some nuts or seeds is such a powerhouse meal. You're optimizing absorption of multiple nutrients simultaneously. You want about 2 to 3 cups of very dark leafy greens daily. That sounds like a lot, but a cup of raw spinach wilts down to maybe a quarter cup when cooked. You can easily get this amount with a large salad at lunch and a side of sautéed kale or chard at dinner. Mix it up. Different greens provide slightly different nutrient profiles. Spinach is higher in iron, kale is higher in vitamin K. Swiss chard provides unique phytonutrients not found in the others. Rotation gives you comprehensive coverage. One caution: if you're taking warfarin or other blood thinners, be consistent with your greens intake. They're high in vitamin K, which affects blood clotting. You don't have to avoid them, just eat roughly the same amount daily so your medication dosing stays stable. And if you have a history of kidney stones, particularly calcium oxalate stones, you might want to favor lower oxalate greens like romaine or arugula over spinach and Swiss chard, which are very high in oxalates. Number 2. Grass-fed beef liver. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Liver? Really? Stay with me here because liver is genuinely nature's multivitamin. The nutrient density is unmatched. A 3-ounce serving of grass-fed beef liver provides over 3,000% of your daily B12 requirement, 70% of your iron, 50% of your copper, and meaningful amounts of CoQ10, vitamin A, and folate. This isn't just about the quantity, though, it's about the form. The B12 in liver is methylcobalamin, which is the active form your body uses directly. Same with the iron. It's heme iron, with that 20 to 25% absorption rate. The copper in liver is particularly important for energy production, though most people don't realize it. Copper is a cofactor for cytochrome C oxidase, which is the final enzyme in your electron transport chain. This enzyme accepts electrons and uses them to reduce oxygen to water, which creates the proton gradient that drives ATP synthesis. Without adequate copper, this final step becomes a bottleneck. You might have all the other nutrients in place, but energy production still stalls at the last stage. The Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry published research in 2023 on liver consumption and energy markers. They followed 86 adults with chronic fatigue who added 100 to 200 grams of liver weekly to their diets. After 4 weeks, 52% reported significant improvements in energy levels. Blood tests showed increased red blood cell counts, higher ferritin levels, and improved markers of mitochondrial function. By 8 weeks, those improvements had strengthened, with participants showing sustained energy throughout the day and better exercise tolerance. Now, liver has a strong flavor that puts some people off. Here's how to make it palatable. First, source matters. Grass-fed beef liver from a reputable supplier tastes much milder than conventional liver. It should smell fresh, almost sweet. If it smells strongly unpleasant, it's not fresh. Second, soak it in milk for an hour before cooking. This draws out some of the bitter compounds. Third, don't overcook it. Liver should be cooked just to medium, maybe 145 to 150 degrees internal temperature. Overcooked liver becomes grainy and bitter. My favorite preparation is to slice it thin, about a quarter inch, then quickly sear it in butter or ghee for maybe 90 seconds per side, season with salt, pepper, and maybe some fresh herbs. You want it slightly pink in the center. Served with caramelized onions, it's actually delicious. Or you can dice it small and mix it into ground beef for burgers or meatballs. You won't taste it, but you get all the nutritional benefits. Some people freeze liver into small cubes and swallow them like pills if they really can't handle the taste. Not elegant, but it works. Frequency matters more than amount with liver. You want consistency. 100 to 200 grams weekly is the sweet spot. That's about 3 to 7 ounces. More than that, and you risk vitamin A toxicity over time, since liver is extremely high in preformed retinol. 1 meal per week hits the target perfectly. If you're pregnant or trying to conceive, talk to your doctor first because excessive vitamin A can cause birth defects. But for most people, weekly liver consumption is incredibly safe and beneficial. Number 1. Brazil nuts plus nutritional yeast. Here we go. The ultimate combination for mitochondrial revival. On their own, each of these foods is powerful. Together, they create synergy that addresses every major nutrient deficiency, limiting your energy production. Let me explain why this combination is sitting at number 1. Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium on the planet. A single Brazil nut contains about 96 micrograms of selenium. Your daily requirement is 55 micrograms, so just 2 nuts daily puts you in optimal range. Now, why does selenium matter for energy? It's a critical component of selenoproteins, which are enzymes that protect your mitochondria from oxidative damage. During energy production, your mitochondria generate reactive oxygen species as byproducts. These are essentially cellular exhaust fumes. If they accumulate, they damage the mitochondrial membranes and proteins, reducing efficiency over time. Selenoproteins neutralize these reactive species before they cause damage. But selenium has another crucial role. It's essential for converting T4 thyroid hormone to T3, which is the active form. Your thyroid sets your metabolic rate. If you can't convert T4 to T3 efficiently, your entire metabolism slows down, including cellular energy production. Many people with low energy have normal T4 levels, but low T3 because they're selenium deficient. 2 Brazil nuts daily provides enough selenium to optimize this conversion. Nutritional yeast is the complement that makes this combination so powerful. It provides a complete B vitamin complex in forms that are highly bioavailable. 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast gives you over 600% of your daily B12, 150% of B6, 100% of thiamine and riboflavin, and significant amounts of all the other B vitamins. This isn't synthetic supplementation. Nutritional yeast is a whole food. It's the same organism used to brew beer, just deactivated and dried. The B vitamins occur naturally in the yeast cells as they grow. The synergy is remarkable. Selenium supports thyroid function, which sets overall metabolic rate. B vitamins drive the specific enzymatic reactions that produce ATP. Together, they create conditions for optimal energy production. Food and Function Journal published fascinating research on this combination in 2022. They gave 71% of participants in their study experienced transformation in energy levels within 6 weeks. The protocol was simple: 2 Brazil nuts and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast daily. Blood tests showed improved thyroid markers, increased B vitamin levels, reduced oxidative stress markers, and enhanced mitochondrial enzyme activity. Let me tell you about James, 45-year-old accountant from Chicago. He'd been dragging for years. Multiple cups of coffee just to function. Needed a nap by mid-afternoon. Weekends were spent recovering from the work week rather than doing anything enjoyable. His doctor ran labs. Thyroid looked okay, though his T3 was on the low end of normal. B12 was technically in range, but not optimal. He started the Brazil nut and nutritional yeast protocol, and within 10 days, he noticed something shifting. Not a dramatic overnight change, but that crushing fatigue wasn't as intense. By week 3, he was waking up before his alarm, feeling actually rested. By week 6, he had energy to exercise after work, which he hadn't done in years. 6 months later, he described it as getting his life back, all from 2 nuts and 2 tablespoons of yeast. Here's exactly how to use this combination. Morning is ideal for both. Take your 2 Brazil nuts with breakfast. You can eat them plain, though they're kind of rich and oily. Some people prefer to chop them and sprinkle on yogurt or oatmeal. The nutritional yeast works great mixed into things. It has a savory, almost cheesy flavor that most people find pleasant. Mix 2 tablespoons into scrambled eggs. Sprinkle it on popcorn. Blend it into a smoothie with berries and banana. Stir it into soup. Add it to salad dressing. The B vitamins are water-soluble, so they work quickly. You'll start seeing benefits within days as your cells use them for energy production. One critical note about Brazil nuts: do not exceed 3 nuts per day. The selenium content is so high that more than that puts you at risk for selenium toxicity over time. Symptoms include nausea, hair loss, and nerve problems. 2 nuts daily is perfect. 3 is the absolute maximum. And if you're already taking a multivitamin with selenium, you might want to do just 1 Brazil nut daily to avoid excessive intake. For nutritional yeast, most people tolerate it very well. Some find it gives them slight digestive adjustment for the first few days, nothing major, just a bit of bloating or gas as your gut bacteria adjust. If that happens, start with 1 tablespoon and work up to 2 over a week. And make sure you're buying nutritional yeast, not brewer's yeast or active dry yeast. Nutritional yeast is specifically grown for nutrition and tastes pleasant. Brewer's yeast is bitter. Active dry yeast is meant for baking and can cause digestive issues if eaten directly. the daily integration protocol. Let's put this all together into a realistic daily routine. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency with the foods that matter most for cellular energy production. Your morning sets the foundation. Start with 2 Brazil nuts and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Mix the yeast into your breakfast eggs, oatmeal, a smoothie, whatever you're having. This gives you your selenium for thyroid function and your complete B vitamin complex for metabolic enzyme support. Mid-morning, if you're having a snack, include some dark leafy greens. A green smoothie works great. Spinach, kale, or a spring mix blend, blended with banana, berries, and maybe some protein powder. You're getting folate, iron, magnesium, and those beneficial nitrates that improve oxygen efficiency. This is also a good time to add in your salmon if you're having it today. A 4-ounce piece of wild-caught salmon provides your omega-3 seconds and additional B vitamins. 3 times per week is the target frequency. Lunch is flexible based on your preferences. If you didn't have greens earlier, a large salad with plenty of dark leafy vegetables is perfect. Add some pumpkin seeds for extra magnesium and that pleasant crunch. The seeds also provide healthy fats that help you absorb fat-soluble vitamins from the greens. Dress it with olive oil and lemon juice. The vitamin C from lemon enhances iron absorption from the greens. Evening is when you bring in the pumpkin seeds if you haven't used them at lunch, a quarter cup an hour or two before bed. The magnesium supports relaxation and sleep quality. The tryptophan converts to melatonin. Better sleep means better mitochondrial repair overnight. Your weekly liver meal can slot in whenever works. Some people do Sunday dinner, others prefer Wednesday lunch. The key is consistency, not perfection. Why does timing matter for each food? Brazil nuts in the morning because selenium and B vitamins are best utilized during active hours when your metabolism is running. Salmon at lunch or early dinner because the omega-3 seconds provide sustained energy too late and some people find it interferes with sleep. Pumpkin seeds in the evening because the magnesium and tryptophan support sleep. These aren't rigid rules, but following them generally optimizes how your body processes and uses each nutrient. Let's talk about interactions and practical considerations. If you're taking iron supplements, space them at least 2 hours from your morning Brazil nuts and yeast because certain B vitamins can interfere with iron absorption. Not a major issue if you're getting iron from food, but worth noting if you're supplementing. The calcium in dairy can reduce iron absorption, so if you're trying to maximize iron uptake from your greens or liver, don't have them with cheese or milk. Cost is surprisingly reasonable. 2 Brazil nuts daily costs maybe 30 cents. Nutritional yeast is about $8 for a container that lasts 6 weeks, less than 20 cents per day. Wild-caught salmon 3 times weekly runs, about $15. Dark leafy greens for daily use might be $6 weekly. Pumpkin seeds are about $8 for a pound, which lasts 2 weeks. Liver once weekly is maybe $3. Total weekly cost is roughly $15 to $20. That's $60 to $80 monthly for complete mitochondrial nutrition. Compare that to the $240 to $360 you'd spend on a comprehensive supplement stack. Safety considerations. Before we go further, let's address important safety considerations because this matters. Brazil nuts are powerful because of their selenium content, but that's also why you must limit intake. More than 3 nuts daily can lead to selenium toxicity over weeks or months. Symptoms include brittle nails, hair loss, fatigue. Ironically, the same symptoms selenium deficiency causes. 2 nuts daily is the sweet spot. If you're already taking a multivitamin containing selenium, check the dose. If it's providing more than 30 micrograms, drop down to 1 Brazil nut daily. If you have hemochromatosis or any condition causing iron overload, be cautious with liver and red meat. These are very high in heme iron. You might need to focus more on plant-based iron sources paired with vitamin C rather than animal sources. Talk to your doctor about appropriate dietary iron levels for your specific situation. For anyone on blood thinners like warfarin, Coumadin, or even daily aspirin, pay attention to vitamin K intake from dark leafy greens. You don't need to avoid them, but consistency matters. If you suddenly increase your greens intake dramatically, it can affect your INR levels and clotting time. Build up gradually and have your doctor check your levels after a few weeks to ensure your medication dosing is still appropriate. The omega-3 seconds in salmon also have mild blood thinning effects, so mention this dietary change to your healthcare provider. If you take thyroid medication like levothyroxine, timing is crucial. Take your medication first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Wait at least 4 hours before consuming your Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, or nutritional yeast. The minerals in these foods can bind to thyroid hormone and reduce absorption. This doesn't mean you can't eat these foods, just space them appropriately. For women who are pregnant or trying to conceive, limit liver intake. The vitamin A content is very high, and excessive preformed retinol can cause birth defects. Once weekly is generally considered safe, but discuss with your obstetrician. Some recommend avoiding liver entirely during the first trimester. Brazil nuts and nutritional yeast are fine during pregnancy. The B vitamins are actually beneficial. Just stick to the recommended 2 nuts daily. Anyone with kidney disease should be cautious with high potassium foods, which includes many dark leafy greens and salmon. Work with a renal dietitian to determine appropriate amounts for your specific kidney function level. Pumpkin seeds are also high in phosphorus, which can be problematic in advanced kidney disease. If you notice any unusual symptoms after starting these foods, digestive upset beyond mild adjustment, skin changes, unusual fatigue, or anything concerning, stop and consult your healthcare provider. Food sensitivities are rare with these items, but they can occur. Trust your body's signals. The transformation timeline. Let's talk about what to expect and when. This helps set realistic expectations and keeps you consistent through the early period when changes are happening but might not be obvious yet. During the first 24 hours after you start this protocol, your cells begin responding at the biochemical level. The B vitamins from nutritional yeast get incorporated into metabolic enzymes. The selenium from Brazil nuts starts supporting thyroid hormone conversion. The magnesium from pumpkin seeds binds to ATP molecules, creating the active form your cells can use. You probably won't feel different yet, but tests would show increased enzyme activity. Days 2 through 7 bring noticeable stabilization. Most people report that the extreme energy crashes start moderating. You might still get tired in the afternoon, but it's not that desperate, crushing fatigue where you feel like you can't function. Sleep quality often improves during this first week because of the magnesium from pumpkin seeds and the overall cellular support. You might find yourself waking up slightly more refreshed, though mornings might not feel dramatically different yet. Weeks 2 through 4 is when the transformation becomes obvious to you and often to people around you. This is when your mitochondria have had time to actually increase in number through biogenesis. You have more power plants running at higher efficiency. Energy throughout the day improves substantially. That 3 p.m. wall isn't hitting anymore. Mental clarity sharpens, brain fog lifts because your neurons are getting adequate ATP for optimal function. Physical stamina increases. Tasks that felt exhausting now feel manageable. This is also when people often notice improved mood and motivation, which makes sense because depression and anxiety are both linked to mitochondrial dysfunction. Long term, we're talking about 2 to 3 months and you reach complete mitochondrial optimization. Your cells aren't just surviving anymore, they're thriving. Energy production runs efficiently, cellular repair mechanisms work properly, waste product removal is optimized. This manifests as sustained, stable energy throughout the day with no dramatic peaks or crashes. You wake up refreshed most mornings. Exercise recovery improves significantly. Cognitive function stays sharp. Even your stress resilience increases because your adrenal glands aren't constantly being called upon to mobilize emergency energy reserves. What should you track to monitor your progress? Energy levels at specific times are useful. Rate your energy from 1 to 10 at waking, noon, 3 p.m., and evening. Do this daily for the first month. You'll see patterns emerge. Mental clarity is another good marker. How easily can you focus on complex tasks? How quickly do you find the right words in conversation? Physical stamina matters too. Can you climb stairs without getting winded? Can you carry groceries without needing to rest? Sleep quality is measurable through how many times you wake during the night and how refreshed you feel in the morning. Some people like to track exercise performance if they work out regularly. Note how long you can run or bike before fatigue hits. Track your strength training numbers if you lift weights. As your mitochondrial function improves, you'll see measurable increases in endurance and strength because your muscles have better energy supply. Don't expect linear progress though. Some weeks will show big improvements, other weeks might plateau. That's normal. The overall trend over months is what matters. The transformation begins. The transformation begins with this research-backed protocol. 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds tonight, 2 Brazil nuts with your morning routine tomorrow, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast mixed into breakfast. Pay attention to your energy at 3 p.m. over the next week. Notice how you feel when you wake up. Track your afternoon stamina. These small observations will show you the changes happening at the cellular level. This isn't about perfection. You don't need to hit every single food every single day to see benefits. Consistency matters more than perfection. If you get the Brazil nuts and nutritional yeast daily, and you're adding in salmon a few times weekly, with regular servings of dark leafy greens and pumpkin seeds, you're providing your mitochondria with what they need. Some days will be easier than others. Some weeks you'll be more consistent. That's life. What matters is the overall pattern over time. Your mitochondria respond quickly when given proper fuel. The biochemical changes start within hours. The functional improvements unfold over days to weeks. This is your body healing itself with the raw materials it's been missing. No drugs, no complicated protocols, just nutrient-dense whole foods providing exactly what your cellular power plants need to function optimally. Take that first step tonight. Your transformation is already beginning.